So, today we're going to dive into one of history's most epic stories. You know the one. It's all about power, faith, and this incredible bid for freedom. But right at the heart of it all is something so simple, so ordinary, you almost can't believe it. It's a piece of wood, a stick, that went up against an entire empire.
I mean, that line right there, it just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the sheer nerve of this whole confrontation. You have a shepherd's tool, a walking stick, and all of a sudden, it's the centerpiece in this massive power struggle. It just forces you to ask, what kind of power are we even talking about here?
And that's the big question, right? That's the mystery we're really digging into. Was this just about the power of an idea, a symbol of defiance? Or was there something real going on, a literal force that could actually bring a civilization to its knees? Let's break down the two sides.
On one side, you've got Egypt, and it's more than just a kingdom. It's an idea of power. We're talking absolute order, total control, gods carved into massive stone monuments that were built to last forever. And on the other side, a staff, just a humble piece of wood, a simple tool, carrying this little whisper of hope that just refuses to go away. The difference is just staggering, and the man carrying that staff, well, his story is just as unlikely.
His life starts out with this act of defiance, a baby hidden on the Nile to survive. He grows up right next to all this power, but he's never really a part of it. Then an act of violence just shatters his entire world, and he's forced to run, to go into exile. And it's out there, in the middle of nowhere, that this simple wooden stick becomes his everyday companion, long before it ever became a symbol. And all of that leads to this one pivotal moment.
All the traditions describe this incredible encounter on a mountain. It's this moment where something divine just breaks through into the ordinary, where the very ground he's standing on becomes holy. And the command he's given is, well, it's pretty much unthinkable. Go back. Go back to the heart of the empire you ran away from and stand up to the most powerful man on the planet. And do it with nothing but that piece of wood in your hand.
And so it begins, the confrontation. But this isn't a battle with armies. Not yet, anyway. It's a battle of signs. A struggle for who controls the story, It's all about whose version of reality is going to win out.
I mean, just try to picture that scene, the sheer visual of it, a simple, worn-down staff, held by an outcast, pointed at a throne that represents hundreds of years of absolute, unquestioned power. Wow, the tension in that room must have been absolutely off the charts.
So the first test kicks off. The staff gets thrown down and, bam, it becomes a serpent. Pharaoh, he's not impressed. He calls in his experts, his magicians, to put on their own show. But then you get the moment that just changes everything. Moses' serpent straight up devours theirs. This wasn't just some magic trick. It was a verdict. It was a clear statement about who had the real power. But, pride is a tough thing to overcome.
So when that symbolic challenge in the palace doesn't move Pharaoh, the whole conflict just blows up. It spills out of the throne room and goes across the entire country. And suddenly nature itself becomes the courtroom.
The assault starts by turning something totally normal into something unbearable. The Nile, which is the source of all life for Egypt, just starts spewing out this plague of frogs. I mean, so many that it messes up every single part of daily life. The frog-headed goddess of fertility, Hecate, is basically turned into a curse. And order, Egypt's biggest point of pride, starts to fall apart.
And next up, swarms of insects. Tiny, relentless little proofs that Pharaoh is not in charge of the world. Every single buzzing wing is like a little challenge to his authority, a mockery of his power coming from the smallest creatures imaginable.
Then things just get weird, unnatural. A storm of fire and ice starts raining down, which is, an impossible combination. This isn't just bad weather. It's a direct shot at Nut, the sky goddess. It's like a warning shot fired right at the heavens.
And then, just an absence. Nothing. A darkness so thick they say you could actually feel it. And this is brilliant because it shows you something crucial. Even the biggest, baddest power in the world needs light to put on its show. In the dark, the whole spectacle of authority just disappears.
You see what's happening here, right? This isn't random chaos. It's a step-by-step dismantling of an empire's entire identity, from the unbearable to the relentless, from the unnatural to a consuming darkness. Each step is an attack on a pillar of Egyptian power, and it just keeps escalating until you reach the final breaking point, a wave of grief so deep it shatters the throne itself. The empire breaks.
So, freedom begins. But, as the source material points out, oppression doesn't just let go quietly. Pharaoh sends his chariots after them, trapping the fleeing Israelites between a massive army and the sea. What happens next? Well, it's the climax of the entire story.
There at the edge of the sea, the staff is raised one last time, and it's like reality itself just bends to a new set of rules. A path opens up where no path could possibly exist, carving a road right through sheer terror.
And what's so fascinating here is how this one single event means two completely opposite things. For the Israelites, it's the ultimate path to freedom. It's escape. But for Pharaoh's army, that very same path becomes a trap. It's a final judgment as the waters come crashing back down.
But here's the thing. On the other side of the sea, the story doesn't just end with a big celebration. This chart shows the harsh reality. A miracle doesn't just erase basic human needs. You've got disbelief, thirst, hunger, doubt. The fight for survival just starts all over again.
Okay, so we've walked through the whole story. Let's circle back to that original question we started with. How are we supposed to understand this story and the power of that stick today?
So how do we make sense of this huge event today? Well, there are a bunch of ways to look at it. Religious tradition, for example, sees it as a clear, purposeful act from God, a divine sign with a message. Historians, though, they're more divided. They point out that Egyptian records are totally silent, and you'd think they would have mentioned something like this. Then you've got scientific theories that suggest natural events, like a volcanic eruption causing the plagues, or a storm surge parting the sea, which were then woven into this sacred story. Each one gives you a different lens to see it through.
But no matter how it happened, the source material argues that the staff's true purpose was what it pointed to. It pointed away from slavery, sure, but it also pointed towards the responsibilities that come with freedom. It's this timeless reminder that the little guy can actually outlast the mighty. And its presence in the story just forces you to deal with what's real: faith, fear, and the true cost of freedom.
And this, right here, this is such a critical takeaway. The ultimate power of this story is its insistence that no worldly authority is permanent, ever. Just like the sea was split apart, the story says that empires, no matter how big and powerful they seem, can be split too. Their power can be broken.
So it kind of puts the question to us, doesn't it? It asks us to put ourselves in that moment. If you were standing there watching all this go down, would you just see a man holding a stick? Or would you see that the line between what's possible and what's impossible was being completely erased right in front of you?
And that leaves us with this final kind of haunting question. It pushes us past all the debates about magic or history and forces us to think about the nature of power itself. What kind of force, whether you call it faith or hope or defiance or something divine, what kind of force is powerful enough to break an empire without ever drawing a sword? That's the question this whole story leaves us to answer.